All right, Bulls fans. So this isn't just for Bulls fans. This is kind of a more retrospective video. By the way, this is Chicago Bulls Central. I'm the host here, Haize. But with that being said, so Kofi Cockburn went undrafted in the 2022 NBA draft. And I want to talk about it because I think it's an interesting conversation to have on what that really means for how the modern NBA really does view big men, and especially, in the framework of, you hear very often how many Bulls fans talk about, oh, P. Will isn't a 3, he's a 4, he's not a this, he's not a that, oh, they're 6 this, they're 6 that. And what we're really seeing as we truly move in the NBA more towards positionless basketball is that we're seeing the traditional type big man really be phased out. And I think Kofi Cockburn not being drafted, it really speaks volumes to how the modern NBA views traditional big men. And this is something that we've slowly been seeing, if for those who've been paying attention over the course of the last handful of years. So while people have said and been very vocal on the fact that they have thought that Kofi Cockburn should have been a pick, would have been a pick, can still contribute, and we'll see what ends up happening as he did sign a two-way deal with the Utah Jazz. But when you look at Kofi Cockburn, right, let's just look at his last year's stats in college basketball. He had 20.9 points, 1 block per game, almost a steal per game, 10.6 rebounds per game, shot the ball from almost a 60% clip in 30 minutes per game in college basketball. Combine that with his previous year of 17.7 points per game, 9.5 rebounds per game. Listen, Kofi Cockburn was a beast in college. He was a beast in high school, and he's going to be. And he got by through his size. But one of the things that I think we're absolutely seeing in the modern NBA is that it's not just about height. And so many people you'll hear the comments, you'll see the comments on this channel so much, you'll see the comments naturally in basketball. We're seeing the NBA move away from just being just size, right? It's becoming more of a skill game, and with skill, using athleticism, length, things like that to overcome the true height, right? This isn't the WWE, right? We're not Vince McMahon. The WWE isn't Vince McMahon. I'm sorry, well, the WWE is, but the NBA is not Vince McMahon. As the game has changed, right? As you see players like Draymond, as you see players like Grant Williams, as you see just players who are smaller in stature, PJ Tucker's been doing it for years, playing some small ball center. When you see players like that in this NBA and you look towards what the position they play in and how that's different from what they would have traditionally played years ago, right? Kofi Cockburn would have absolutely probably been at least a top 20 pick, if not in the lottery, 10 years ago. Absolutely. And that's not even, people always go to the 90s. That's not even the 90s, right? We're still in the in early 2000s, right? Kofi Cockburn would have been a top pick. But when you see players like Hasheem Thabeet, when you see players like Taco Fall, when you see players that that have that size but don't have a lot of skill. And that's the thing with Kofi Cockburn. He's not a very skilled player. He's a big player. He knows his limitations. He operates within his limitations. He uses his body very well, right? He knows his size. He rebounds the ball well. He blocks shots. He gets baskets within the framework of what he can do. But the NBA is slowly moving away from that. Now, he did, as I said, he got picked up by the Utah Jazz, and we'll see what happens there, right? We'll see what happens with the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz picked up a lot of players on two-way deals, a lot of undrafted rookies in two-way deals, so we see who ends up sticking. But as we see what happens, and Kofi may play in the Summer League, and he may very well look dominant in the Summer League. But one thing that we're seeing is that the NBA is moving away from these type of big men. Now, and I know people are going to say, well, what about Rudy Gobert? The Bulls were interested in Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert looks like he has the footwork of LeBron James compared to Kofi Cockburn. And that's not even, again, that's not to crap on Kofi Cockburn, but that is to analyze. I know people are going to bring up even Time Lord in Boston. Listen, Time Lord is way more versatile, right? And has way more mobility than a Kofi Cockburn. So when you look at Kofi, yes, he's big. He's huge, right? And it doesn't even look like it's a true two-way deal. Exhibit 10 deals is the type of deal he signed. But when you look at Kofi, the foot speed, he would get exposed in the NBA. Like, his size be damned. And people say, well, you need size to guard Giannis and Embiid. You need size. Kofi Cockburn couldn't do anything with Giannis because Giannis can put the ball on the floor. Giannis can move. Same thing with Joel Embiid. While Kofi does have size, and he has that legit size, Kofi could not guard Joel Embiid in the NBA. Because guess what? He's not just Embiid's just not a back-to-the-basket player. He's not just a post player. And the defensive limitations of players like Kofi Cockburn, you would have to take so much and build your team in such a specific way to overcome what they have that, again, I think what we're seeing is a very big statement on how these type of traditional bigs are going to be viewed in the NBA for the foreseeable future. Now, everything changes, right? We may see the NBA come back to traditional bigs at some point in time, but at least for now. And you notice in this, I have not mentioned anything about shooting the three, because so many people think when you talk about modern, it means you have to shoot the three. No, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that even if Kofi being a limited offensive player, the defensive side, you have to have some versatility there. A pick and roll in the NBA would kill Kofi Cockburn every single time. And this isn't that you can't just stand. People are going to say, well, you just have him stand in the lane and get rebounds and block shots. That's not how this NBA works anymore. Switchability is the thing that they're going to force pick and rolls. They're going to force switches with Kofi Cockburn. Now, going to the Utah Jazz, right? If he ends up even making their finalized roster and making an NBA team, how will they use him? How won't they? That remains to be seen. But one thing that we are seeing that's loud, if you're listening enough, is that the NBA has now, the verdict is out on how the NBA views traditional bigs who don't have switchability, who don't have versatility on offense, who don't have those type of things. Kofi Cockburn is not a very skilled player, but he's a extremely big and strong player. So as you see the NBA start moving away from that, right? And again, I don't want to lay this all on Kofi. I'm just using Kofi as a jumping point off for this conversation, is that there were some people who really did think that the NBA was tripping, that I was tripping, that other outlets were tripping, saying that Kofi Cockburn was not going to be drafted because guess what? One of the only player in collegiate basketball to have a 20-10 season, but his lack of versatility defensively. And don't compare him to Walker Kessler. If you're going to go with that, let me stop you right there. Walker Kessler still projects to be better on offense. Yeah, Walker Kessler absolutely has limitations defensively, and he may be exposed in pick and rolls defensively, and we'll see that. But his offensive versatility in the pick and roll, right? The fact that he can develop somewhat of a skill set that you can see, it's not just based off size. The verdict is out, I think, when it comes to traditional big man in the NBA, and Kofi Cockburn is just the latest example of that. But we're seeing the NBA move away from that. And listen, I know there are going to be people that disagree with that, but that's what I think, and that's why I've always been very vocal in saying that Kofi Cockburn was not going to be drafted in this draft. And we'll see if he ends up being an NBA player. We'll see. We'll see. I still think, and I stand and maintain that if he does, it has to be a very limited role. But we'll see what the verdict ends up being on Kofi Cockburn. Let me know what you think down below on Kofi Cockburn. Let me know what you think about everything that I said as far as like the NBA moving away from these type of bigs and size not longer just being the sole factor. It's length. Now, size does play. You do need size. As we've said on the Chicago Bulls team, we're going to need to add some size, right? You can't have a 6'4" player playing power forward all season when you need some length. But we're seeing the NBA change. And I think sometimes we need to update, some of us need to update our thinking on what it means to be a big in this modern NBA. Let me know what you guys think about that down below. Thank you for tuning in to Chicago Bulls Central. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Also, you can follow the show at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullscentralpod@gmail.com. Thank you for tuning in. This has been Chicago Bulls Central. Like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.